Hello everyone. So, in last class we derived the general Reynolds equation for lubrication to estimate the pressure distribution inside the slider bearing. Today we will carry out the analysis of one dimensional slider bearing. This slider bearing is also known as slipper bearing or thrust bearing. So, this is the schematic of this one dimensional slider bearing. So, bottom surface is the moving surface with a constant speed u, and the upper surface is the bearing pad of length L. You can see that this bearing pad makes an small angle alpha with the moving surface. So, inside we have lubricant, and we will make these assumptions while doing this analysis. We will use incompressible lubricant, we will neglect the inertia terms, and we will consider steady state. That means del H by del T is equal to 0. What does it mean? That there is no normal velocity or vertical velocity in y direction, that means B is equal to 0. And the bearing width, this perpendicular to this surface in the z direction, is B, and this B is much greater than L. So, the any gradient in this direction you can neglect, and the velocity in perpendicular to this surface is also 0. So, obviously from this figure you can see that P is function of x only and u is function of y only, and we have this nomenclature: u is the bottom surface speed, L is the bearing length, B is the bearing width, mu is the lubricant viscosity, Hx. So, at any location x, this is the film thickness, H1 is the film thickness at inlet, that means at the leading edge, and H2 is the film thickness at exit or trailing edge, and H1 is greater than H2. And W is the applied load on the bearing pad, and P is the hydrodynamic pressure. So, you can see that for this one dimensional case we have only this governing equation to find the velocity distribution, and in general we have derived this Reynolds equation in last class: del of del x h cube by 12 mu del p by del x plus del of del z h cube by 12 mu del p by del z is equal to half del of del x of u h plus half del w h by del x plus del h by del t. So, this is the general Reynolds equation we derived. Now, invoking these assumptions, we can simplify this equation. Obviously, we have seen that width is very large compared to the length of the bearing pad. So, del of del z of any quantity will be 0, this will also be 0, and as it is steady state there is no vertical velocity v. So, this will also be 0. So, you can see after simplification we can write the Reynolds equation for this one dimensional slider bearing as del of del x h cube by 12 mu del p by del x minus u h by 2. So, this term we have taken in the left hand side is equal to 0. So, while carrying out this analysis, first let us find the velocity distribution, then we will calculate the volumetric flow rate, and then we will use the lubrication, this Reynolds equation, to find the pressure distribution inside this slider bearing. So, we have the governing equation to find the velocity distribution as d2u by dy square is equal to 1 by mu dp by dx. P is function of x only because del p by del y is equal to 0 and in z direction del p by del z is equal to 0. So, p is function of x only, similarly u is function of y only. So, we have the boundary conditions at y is equal to 0, u is equal to this moving surface velocity u, and at y is equal to h is function of x, u is equal to 0. So, this bearing pad velocity obviously it is stationary, so it is 0. So, if you invoke these boundary conditions and if you integrate this governing equation, find the constants, then finally you can write the velocity profile u, which is function of y as 1 by twice mu minus del p by del x y h minus y square plus u 1 minus y by h. Okay. So, now let us find the volumetric flow rate. And this let us calculate per unit width, that means per unit b. Okay. So, b is the width, so per unit width will calculate. Okay. So, this q now we can write as integral 0 to h u dy. Okay. So, per unit width we are calculating, so we are not writing here b. So, if you perform this integration invoking this velocity distribution, you will find this as h cube by 12 mu minus del p by del x plus u h by 2. Now, let us consider the Reynolds equation and let us find the pressure distribution. So, Reynolds equation for this particular case we have simplified as del of del x h cube by 12 mu del p by del x minus u h by 2 is equal to 0. So, if you integrate this, then you will get h cube by 12 mu del p by del x minus u h by 2 is equal to some constant. Okay. Or if you modify it, so if you multiply both sides with a negative sign, then you can write h cube by 12 mu minus del p by del x plus u h by 2. So, this will be also this minus constant, and you can see this is nothing but the volumetric flow rate which we have derived. So, it is q. Okay. So, from here now you can find, so as p is function of x, we can write dp by dx instead of del p by del x is equal to 6 mu u by h square minus 12 mu q divided by h cube. So, now we have found the pressure gradient. Okay. So, now let us find this h as a function of alpha and the height h1 and h2. So, you can see that we can write tan alpha. So, from this figure you can see you can write tan alpha is equal to h1 minus h2 divided by L, right, and this also you can write as h1 minus h, which is function of x divided by any length x. So, and any length x, if you see it is hx, then you can write h1 minus hx divided by x. So, as we know that in this particular case alpha is very small. So, you can write tan alpha is equal to alpha. So, from here you can see that we can write alpha is equal to H1 minus H2 divided by L, that means H2 is H1 minus alpha L, or alpha is equal to H1 minus H divided by X. So, we can write H, which is function of X, as H1 minus alpha X. So, now let us substitute this H in terms of this X, and let us integrate. So, if you substitute it, you will get dp by dx is equal to 6 mu u divided by H1 minus alpha x square minus 12 mu q divided by H1 minus alpha x whole cube. Okay. So, after integrating, you will get p is equal to integral 6 mu u by H1 minus alpha x square dx minus integral 12 mu q divided by H1 minus alpha x whole cube dx plus some constant c. So, if you perform this integration, so you will get 6 mu u divided by alpha H1 minus alpha x minus 12 mu q divided by 2 alpha H1 minus alpha x square plus constant c. Now, this H1 minus alpha x will write in terms of H. So, you can write it as 6 mu u by alpha h minus 12 mu q divided by 2 alpha h square plus c. So, now this integration constant we will find invoking the boundary conditions. So, you can see that as two sides are open to atmosphere. So, we have the same pressure at exit and at inlet. So, we can write at x equal to 0 and at x equal to L, P is equal to P 0. So, now putting these boundary conditions at x equal to 0 and x equal to L, P is equal to P 0, let us first find the volumetric flow rate Q, and then we will find the integration constant C. So, if you put at x equal to 0, then you will get P 0 is equal to 6 mu u divided by, so at x equal to 0 if you put, you will get alpha into h 1 minus 6 mu q divided by alpha h 1 square plus c, and if you put at x equal to L, then you will get P is equal to P naught, and you will get 6 mu u divided by alpha h 1 minus alpha L, because x equal to L, minus 6 mu q divided by alpha h 1 minus alpha L square plus constant c, or this you can write as P naught is equal to 6 mu u divided by alpha, and h 2 is h 1 minus alpha L. Okay. So, we will write alpha h 2 minus 6 mu q divided by alpha h 2 square plus c. So, let us say that this is the equation 1 and this is the equation 2. So, now if we subtract equation 1 from equation 2, then what we will get? Subtract equation 1 from equation 2. Okay. So, you can see left hand side it will be 0, and here you will get 6 mu by alpha, you can take it outside, then we can write u 1 by h 2 minus 1 by h 1, and this you will get minus q 1 by h 2 square minus 1 by h 1 square. Okay. So, if you rearrange and if you find the q from here, you will find that q is h 1 h 2 divided by h 1 plus h 2 into u. Okay. So, from here we have found the q in terms of the geometrical parameters and the velocity u. So, now if you put this q in this equation of pressure distribution and at x equal to 0 we note p is equal to p 0 and we can find the integration constant c. So, from equation 1 and putting the value of q, we can now write p naught is equal to 6 mu u by alpha h 1 minus 6 mu u by alpha h 1 square and put the value of q. So, now put the value of q h 1 h 2 divided by h 1 plus h 2 plus c. Okay. So, this u we have already written here. So, you can see this h 1 1 will get cancelled. So, you can write p naught is equal to 6 mu u by alpha h 1. If we take outside, so it will be 1 minus. So, h 2 divided by h 1 plus h 2 plus c. So, this you can write as, so 6 mu u by alpha h 1. So, this h 2 will get cancelled. So, you will get h 1 by h 1 plus h 2 plus c. Okay. So, from here you can see you can find constant c as p naught, this h 1 will get cancelled. So, it will be minus 6 mu u divided by alpha h 1 plus h 2. Okay. So, now you can find the pressure distribution. So, you can see p x minus p naught, after the putting the value of c we will get this expression alpha h 1 minus alpha x minus 6 mu u divided by alpha h 1 plus h 2 minus 6 mu q divided by alpha h 1 minus alpha x square. So, now if you put the value of q and this h 1 minus alpha x, in a way we can write as h, okay, and the q value we know it is h 1 h 2 u divided by h 1 plus h 2. So, you put all these values here. So, we will get this as 6 mu u divided by alpha, if you take it common. So, you will see this is h. So, you will get h into h 1 plus h 2. So, in the numerator you will get h 1 plus h 2 minus h minus 6 mu u divided by alpha h 1 h 2 divided by h square h 1 plus h 2. Okay. So, now if you take outside 6 mu u by alpha, then we will get h square h 1 plus h 2. So, here you will get h 1 h plus h 2 h minus h square minus h 1 h 2. So, now you can see that here we will take common h from here and this term. So, you can see that we can write now this as 6 mu u by alpha. Now, you can see if you take common from these two h, then you can write h 1 minus h, and from here you can see minus H2 if you take common, then you can write H1 minus H from these two terms, okay, divided by H square H1 plus H2. Okay. So, now next we will write next, now let us simplify it. So, we can see that alpha is equal to H1 minus H divided by x. Okay. So, from here you can see that H1 minus Hx is equal to alpha x. So, from here you can see that now you can write P x minus P naught is equal to 6 mu u, okay, and 1 if you take H1 minus H common, and if you put alpha into x, and we will have H minus H2 divided by, so we have 1 alpha and H square into H1 plus H2. Okay. So, you can see now we can simplify and we can find the pressure distribution from this equation. So, it will be 6 mu u, this alpha will get cancelled. So, you will get x H minus H2 divided by H square H1 plus H2. Okay, where H is equal to H1 minus alpha x and H1 is greater than H2. Okay, so, now we have found the pressure distribution inside the slider bearing. So, if you can solve this equation, and you will be able to find what is the pressure distribution inside the slider bearing having the same pressure at the inlet and outlet. So, if you use some suitable non-dimensional parameter, so we can write this pressure distribution in non-dimensional form. So, we will use these following non-dimensional parameters. Okay. So, we will use x is equal to x by L, capital H as H by H2, beta which is known as tapered ratio, which is H1 by H2, and now in this case capital P is the non-dimensional pressure difference, that is P x minus P naught divided by 6 mu u L divided by H2 square. Okay. So, if you can see from this expression, okay, now we can write this P which is function of x as H minus 1 divided by H square beta plus 1. Okay. If you do the mathematical manipulation, then you will get finally this expression, where you can see that H is H by H2, which is H1 minus alpha x divided by H2, and we can write that H1 and now alpha we can write as H1 minus H2 divided by L, right. So, if you put it here, so you will get H1 minus H2 divided by L into x divided by H2. So, now if you divide by H2, then H you will get as H1 by H2, that is beta, minus here you can get H1 by H2, that is also beta, minus 1 and x by L is x. Okay. So, in this expression you can see that if H1 is equal to H2 is equal to H, so what will be the pressure distribution? So, obviously you can see that this pressure difference will be 0, that means inside the lubricant we will have same pressure P naught. Okay. So, that means when H1 is equal to H2 is equal to H, that means you have two parallel surface. Okay. So, that means the gap is uniform. So, P x will be P naught. So, everywhere the pressure will be same, that means the gauge pressure will be 0. So, let us find now the load capacity of the bearing, because there will be a load which is acting on the normal direction. So, we have the pressure difference P x minus P naught, and if we integrate this over the area, flow area, then we will be able to get the load capacity. So, you can see that load bearing capacity per unit width we will calculate now. So, W will be just integral 0 to L P minus P naught into dx, okay, per unit width we are calculating. So, now you can write, so P minus P naught we have the expression. So, you can put the constant outside the integral, and you can integrate 0 to L x h 1 minus h 2 divided by h square dx, okay, where h is h 1 minus alpha x. Okay. So, you perform this integration, finally, you will get as 6 mu u L square divided by h 1 minus h 2 whole square L n h 1 by h 2 minus 2 h 1 minus h 2 divided by h 1 plus h 2. Okay. So, in non-dimensional form if we write this, so let us say W star, then we will get W divided by 6 mu u L square divided by h 2 square, then we can write it as 1 by 1 minus beta square, because here from here you will get, and you will get ln beta plus 2 into 1 minus beta divided by 1 plus beta. Now, let us find what is the shear stress acting on the bottom plate, okay, and the force required to move the plate, to move the bottom plate. So, we can write shear force per unit width F is equal to 0 to L tau W into dA, and per unit width we are writing, so dx. Okay. And we know that tau W, so we have tau W is the shear stress on the wall. So, obviously, if we calculate the tau, that is nothing but minus mu del u by del y at y is equal to 0. So, in the fluid side, okay, so in the fluid side at bottom. Okay. So, if you see, so we have the velocity distribution, from here you will get this, we will get this as minus h by 2 del p by del x minus mu u by h. Okay. So, now if you want to find the what is the shear stress on the wall, so it will be obviously tau W will be minus tau F bottom, okay, because this is fluid side. So, obviously, it will be equal and opposite on the wall. So, tau W will be just minus tau. So, it will be h by 2, this you can write as dp by dx, dp by dx plus mu u by h. Okay. So, now you substitute the value of this dp by dx, and invoking the value of q, we can get, so q is equal to h 1 h 2 divided by h 1 plus h 2 into u, and dp by dx we have the expression 6 mu u by h square minus 12 mu q by h cube. So, you can see this q you substitute it here and put it here, you will get tau W as 4 mu u by h minus 6 mu u H1 H2 divided by H square H1 plus H2. Okay. So, now if you put it here and if you integrate, finally H, obviously you know that it is H1 minus alpha x. So, if you integrate it, finally you will get the shear force per unit width F as mu u L divided by H1 minus H2 4 ln H1 by H2 minus 6 H1 minus H2 divided by H1 plus H2. And in non-dimensional form if you write, then F star will be F by mu u L divided by H2 is equal to 4 ln beta divided by this H1 minus H2, this will become beta minus 1 minus 6 by 1 plus beta. Okay. Beta is equal to H1 by H2. So, this is the F, which is the shear force per unit width, and if you want to calculate the power loss dragging the fluid, then you can multiply with the velocity and you will get the power lost. So, the power lost dragging the fluid is, so power is P W is equal to F into U. Now, whatever in non-dimensional form we have represented the pressure difference, the load, bearing load, the force per unit width. So, that let us plot with respect to either the non-dimensional length x or the taper ratio beta. So, first let us consider the pressure difference. So, in non-dimensional form the pressure difference we have written as P x is equal to H minus 1 divided by H square beta plus 1, okay, where H is beta minus 1 x, and you know that x is non-dimensional x coordinate x by L, and the taper ratio beta is H1 by H2. Okay. So, in this figure we are showing the this non-dimensional pressure difference P versus the non-dimensional x coordinate x. So, obviously it will x will vary from 0 to 1. So, we have plotted for different taper ratio. So, let us consider at beta is equal to 1.5. So, if beta is equal to 1, obviously this will be parallel surface. Okay. So, P minus P naught will be 0 and beta is equal to 1.5. So, you can see this is the blue color. So, the pressure increases along x, it reaches one maximum point, then again it decreases and becomes 0 at the exit. Okay. As you increase beta, you can see the peak increases, and at beta is equal to 2.2. So, this line you can see that there will be a maximum P. After that, if you increase beta, the peak decreases. Okay. You can see for beta is equal to 3 and beta is equal to 4, this peak increases, this peak decreases. So, now if we find that at what beta this becomes maximum. So, we can write for maximum P dP by d beta is equal to 0, and you can see that this P max from here you will get as beta minus 1 divided by 4 beta into 1 plus beta. Okay. And the location at which it will have, that is x P max, it will be beta by 1 plus beta. So, you can see the location where it is becoming maximum. So, that will be beta by 1 plus beta, and the P maximum value at different beta you will get from this expression beta minus 1 divided by 4 beta into 1 plus beta. Now, if you want to find that if you want to find P max versus beta, so now this we are plotting. Okay. So, we are varying the taper ratio from 1 to 4, obviously 1 is parallel surface. So, you can see this P max gradually it increases, then it becomes maximum, then again decreases. So, with increasing beta you can see that after getting a optimum value it decreases. So, if you want to find this beta at which this P max happen, so this will be 1 plus root 2 and it is 2.414, and the value of P max at beta where P max is happening, so that is 0.043. So, you can see that at beta P max 2.414. So, at 2.414 this somewhere it will become maximum, and this value corresponding P max value is 0.043. Okay. So, just slightly above here. Now, we have calculated the volumetric flow rate, and if we express in non-dimensional form and if we plot with beta, then we will get, so Q we have H1 H2 divided by H1 plus H2 into U, and Q star will be just Q divided by U H2 by 2, then it will be 2 beta by 1 plus beta. Okay. So, you can see if we plot this Q x star, this is your Q x star versus beta. So, you can see gradually this volumetric flow rate will increase as taper ratio increases. Now, we have this non-dimensional load bearing capacity. So, that we have expressed at as 1 minus beta square ln beta plus 2 1 minus beta divided by 1 plus beta. Okay. So, now if you want to find that at what beta this W star will become maximum. So, we can write d W star by d beta will be 0. So, you can see that beta optimum you will get as 2.1889 and omega optimum at beta optimum at this value you will get as 0.0267. So, you can see that with increase of taper ratio beta, this W star gradually increases, it reaches a maximum, then again it decreases. So, at beta optimum you will get the W star value as 0.0267. So, slightly above this point, and you can see there is an optimal film ratio beta that determines the largest load capacity. So, at beta optimum you will get the largest load capacity, but if you increase further this taper ratio, load capacity will decrease. Okay. So, too large taper ratio act to reduce the load capacity. Okay. Now, the shear force per unit width in non-dimensional form we have represented as 4 ln beta divided by beta minus 1 minus 6 1 plus beta. So, this if we plot with beta, so you can see that it gradually decreases. Okay. So, it gradually decreases. Okay. So, in today's class we considered one dimensional slider bearing. We assumed that in third direction the width is very large compared to the length of the bearing plate, and we considered one small angle of the bearing plate with respect to the bottom surface. With this, first we calculated the velocity profile, then we calculated the volumetric flow rate, and then using Reynolds equation we found the pressure distribution, and then we calculated the load bearing capacity, the force required to move the bottom surface. Then we represented all these parameters in non-dimensional form. Thank you.